What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. So before I get into this video, I want to give a big shout out to the brother LB, also known as the sports and political channel of LB, for doing a video talking about this. And that is after a long, long wait, all right? A wait approaching 2 decades. Tim Hardaway, the original Tim Hardaway, has finally been inducted into the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame. Uh, his induction would have happened much, much sooner had it not been for an unfortunate incident that occurred when he was being interviewed by Dan Lebatard some 15 years ago, when he said some very unfortunate remarks that I will not go into. He has since recanted that statement. He has educated himself on that subject. He has become a much better person, and we should all move on from this. But we only move on from what we want to move on in this country. Um, as I said before, police officers can uh, execute citizens at will, and we're supposed to put ourselves in police officers' shoes and always be able to forgive. Yet, Michael Vick, who served his uh, debt to society, uh, Will Smith, who made a horrible mistake, Tim Hardaway, who made a horrible mistake in judgment of what he had to say out of his mouth. So with some people, they're always going to bring it up. But we know some people have selective outrage. But never mind that. Tim Hardaway deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. In the 1990s, he's one of the top point guards in the NBA. I would say from 1991 to 1999, with the exception of the period of time when he was out with uh, the injury, the serious injury that derailed his career for a year. With the exception of that time, I would say Tim Hardaway was a top 3 to 4 point guard generally every year. When you're talking about Magic Johnson, Kevin Johnson, John Stockton, Gary Payton, um, you know, those are the only ones that I would generally put ahead of him consistently at that time. Other than that, you know, Tim Hardaway was right there. And he had one of the greatest crossovers in the history of the sport, dubbed the UTEP two-step, because he went to UTEP, the University of Texas of El Paso. And when he played with Golden State, I think he was at his best, although he was still great with Miami. But after that devastating knee injury that he suffered in the mid 90s, he lost a little bit, just a little bit of explosiveness. But he still was phenomenal. But when he was with Golden State, he was on another level, man. At times, I believe, generally speaking, his best years he averaged somewhere around 18, 19 points, 8 to 9 assists per contest with the Golden State Warriors. May have had a couple years double-digit assists. Um, when he teamed with Mitch Richmond, who I believe won Rookie of the Year 88, what was it, 88, 89, it might have been. When he teamed with Mitch Richmond and Chris Mullin, who finally successfully beat his won his uh, battle with the bottle of booze. And when they got it together and they were running TMC, they were magnificent. Now, they were never going to be defensive juggernauts, but offensively, they were so exciting to watch. You know, look, yeah, we talk about the defensive '90s and all of that, but you know, the first half of the '90s was a little bit more offensive friendly than the late '90s. A lot more. It was from '96 until like the dawn of millennium that basketball started becoming more defensive orientated. Because as you know, in basketball, teams and franchises tried to mimic the winning teams, the best teams at that time, the Pacers, the Bulls. the Knicks, uh, you know, even the Jazz. They were more half court defensive teams. So organizations were trying to mimic that. Also, other factors involved too. Um, but Run TMC was phenomenal, man. On any given night, Mitch Richmond would give you 23 points a game. Great mid-range outside shooting would occasionally slash the basket, uh, post you up, strong, guard, 6'5", 220, 215. Tim Hardaway was a little bit more explosive at that time, would slash the basket at times, could shoot from outside. Uh, like I said, incredible ball handling ability, deceptive, crazy fucking crossover. And Chris Mullin was so amazingly consistent. On any night, Chris Mullin, on any year, he'll give you 25 points a game. He'll give you five assists a night. He'd give you, what was it, maybe 6, 7 rebounds per night, 50% from the floor, 38% from three, 87 to 90% from the line. Phenomenal player. Um, but then he suffered a knee injury. Tim Hardaway. Um, some people thought that his career, if not over, he wouldn't be the same player. He was traded to Miami, and he was a catalyst for that team. He was the reason why they eventually became a power in the Eastern Conference. Their best year was 1996-97. That team won 61 games. That team would go on to eventually battle the Bulls in the Eastern Conference Finals, even though it wasn't much of a contest. But one of Tim Hardaway's finest moments was Game 6 of the 1997 Eastern Conference Semifinal Series. The series that the Knicks once led 3 games to 1, but after that brawl, the Heat were able to battle back to a Game 7. Tim Hardaway, despite Patrick Ewing's 38 points and 17 rebounds, Tim Hardaway put on one of the great shows in the history of that franchise. If I'm not mistaken, I believe Alonzo Mourning was unable to play that night because of suspension. I believe he was unable to play. I can't remember. Um, but Tim Hardaway went out there. I remember he dropped 38 points and hit 6 consecutive threes. I mean, one of the great. And I remember these are great defensive teams. It's not like you're just out there shooting over dudes that's like 5 feet away from you. He was hitting some amazing shots. Hit 6 threes in a row. One of the great shooting outside uh, shooting exhibitions, I've ever seen in my life. But you look at Tim Hardaway. Let's look at his resume. Got to remember that his career was cut short a little bit by injuries, just a little bit. So he scored over 15,000 points, dished out over 7,000 assists for his career. He averaged 17.7 points, 3.3 rebounds, 8.2 assists. He had over 1,400 steals in his career. Um, Five-time NBA All-Star, All-NBA First Team in 1997, 3 times All-NBA Second Team, All-NBA Third Team in 1993. He was on the NBA All-Rookie First Team in 1990. His number 10 is retired by the Miami Heat. Um, he won the Francis Pomeroy Naismith Award in 1989. Some collegiate awards. And he also won an Olympic gold medal in Sydney in 2000. So Tim Hardaway, one of the great point guards in the 1990s, and one of the most exciting players I've ever seen going into the Hall of Fame. Is well worth it. Tell me what you guys think.